Hey guys, welcome to Data Trek, your one-stop channel for all the data science and machine learning updates. So this is the final video of logistic regression series where we will try to do practical by applying logistic regression on a real problem, which is a iris dataset. And also we will do the EDA and explainable AI part to understand why the model is behaving the way it is. So with that, let's get started. I will make the link of this notebook available in the description section, and also the link of all the prior videos in the series also in the description section. First, we will read the dataset. The dataset is iris dataset. So iris is a type of flower which has different hybrids like Setosa, versicolor and virginica, and the task is to predict that which hybrid of iris, that is whether it's iris setosa, iris versicolor or iris virginica, depending on some features. So first of all we will do the load iris, and we can see there are four type of features: sepal length, sepal width, petal length and petal width, and classes which is like the setosa, versicolor or virginica. What is sepal? Sepal is this green portion which is supporting the actual flower, and petal is the leaves of the flower. So in that way we have been provided with this information. So first of all we will do the basic understanding of dataset, that how many samples are there. There are 150 samples, and there are no nulls. Then we can do an EDA, that is exploratory data analysis, to understand the data or the features in a better way. So here we have done a pair plot of each features with respect to other feature, and also it also has a distribution plot. So things that are pretty clear from here is sepal length, petal length and petal width is smaller for setosa, followed by versicolor and virginica. Let's look at that. The first distribution is for setosa, second is for versicolor and third is for virginica. So we can see that the sepal length is smallest for setosa, followed by versicolor and virginica. And we can also see that sepal length is always smaller for setosa, also the petal length is smaller, and also the petal width is smaller. But interestingly, the sepal width doesn't show much deviation but follows a different pattern. It's smaller for versicolor and virginica but relatively larger for setosa. As we have seen the other feature, sepal length, petal length and petal width are smaller for setosa, but if you see here, the sepal width is relatively higher for setosa than the other two, that is versicolor and virginica. And we can also see some strong collinearity, right? Like this feature, petal length, petal width are strongly collinear, and so also this one is also collinear, not very high collinearity, but still some collinearity is there, and also some collinearity can be seen here, but not very high. But this one is clearly very high. So let's next plot the correlation matrix. We can see that the petal length and sepal length have a strong correlation, as we were already seeing here. The petal length and sepal length have a strong correlation, and also petal length and petal width, petal length and petal width. And also if you see these two distributions, the petal length and petal width, they are giving very similar kind of information because the distribution are very similar. Next, what we will do is we will try to split our dataset into train and test set, so that we can train the model on the training set and try to predict on the test set to see how good the model is performing. We will do a 75-25 split, that is 75% we will use for the training set and 25% we will use for the test set. And then we will run our logistic regression, and you can see the max iteration 200, because if you remember from the previous video, for logistic regression closed form solution doesn't exist. We go with the numerical solution, and it appears that this is the number of iterations we want for the gradient descent, and then we can fit the model, and we have got the coefficients. Now interestingly, there are four coefficients, and also we have four features, right, which are sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width. But also we get separate set of coefficient for each class. And why is that? Because we have already seen in the last video that in case of multinomial classification or softmax classification or multi-class classification, the model learns different set of parameters for each class. Hence we get different parameters or coefficient for each class, and finally there is a softmax layer which converts this unnormalized score into normalized score, which if we add will be equal to 1, and which acts as the probability, and the assignment of the observation happens to the class with the highest probability. So we can see the performance of the model next, that how good the model is doing on the train set. It's almost 98.2% accurate, which is highly accurate in training data. But let's check whether it's overfitting or is it doing equally good in the test set as well. In the test set, the accuracy is 97.4%, which is not bad. So the model is doing pretty good both in the training set and the test set. And it has learned the information in the right way, that which features plays an important role for which class. And if we see the confidence matrix, Setosa has always been classified correctly in the test set. Versicolor has been also classified correctly most of the time except one, and Virginica is also classified most of the times correctly. Actually, all the time correctly. Here the model made one mistake where the actual level was Versicolor, but it went to Virginica. And it may be possible because if you see, Setosa is clearly separate from the other two classes, but there is some similarity between Versicolor and Virginica. That's why that error or that one place the model might have missed it. Till now, we did an EDA, that is exploratory data analysis of the dataset, tried to understand how the features are differing across classes. We also fit the model and saw the coefficients and check the model's performance both on the training and the test set. Next we will do the interesting part, which is the explainable AI or ML part. So what is explainable AI or ML? Explainable AI is a set of tools and frameworks to understand and interpret predictions made by the machine learning model. With it, we can debug and improve model performance and also understand why the model is behaving the way it is behaving. And we will do it using Shapley values. Shapley values stands for Shapley additive explanation. The idea comes from the game theory, where in the game theory we can find the contribution of each player in the game. Similarly, here we can find the contribution of each feature in the model. And there are two levels of interpretability. One is global interpretability, another is local interpretability. In global interpretability, the SHAP values show how much a predictor or a feature contributes either positively or negatively to the target variable. And in local interpretability, we can see for each observation what is the classification made and which features actually were the reasons for that classification to a particular class. So if we see the summary plot, we can see that the most contributing feature for this classification problem, that is classifying the observation as Setosa, Versicolor or Virginica, the most contributing feature is petal length, followed by petal width, sepal length and sepal width. This is the first explanation we got, that which feature is the most important feature, and we got it by looking at the feature and how much it's contributing to the mean of Shapley values. We can also do the global interpretation, that for overall for class Setosa, we can see that petal length around 1, 1.3, 1.4 small petal length is contributing positively, while high petal length is contributing negatively. And that we can see here as well, that the petal length is very small for Setosa, and if it's high it becomes Versicolor or Virginica. So that is coming out clearly here as well, that small petal length positive contribution for Setosa and large petal length negative contribution. Similarly, we can look at Versicolor. The high petal length or high petal width has positive contribution, while small petal length oppositely to that of Setosa has negative contribution. Similarly, we can look for Virginica as well, that is small petal length and small petal width has negative contribution, while high petal length, high petal width has positive contribution. And also we can look at the summary plot. What summary plot shows is, you can see high and low, which is the feature value. So for petal length for class Setosa, if it's high, it will have negative contribution. On the other hand, if the petal length is low, it will have positive contribution because Shapley is positive here. And similarly, the sepal length high will have negative contribution, and low will have positive contribution. But the trend reverses for sepal width. High sepal width has positive contribution and low sepal width has negative contribution. Let's look at sepal width and verify that. If you look at sepal width, it's higher for setosa, but all other features are actually lower for setosa. That is clearly coming out in the summary plot. And similarly, we can look for versicolor and virginica. Next, the most interesting part that I appreciate the most is the local interpretability, where we can see the feature values that for an observation, the feature value were 5.8, 2.8, 5.1 and 2.4. These are in the order of, what's the order? It's sepal length, sepal width, petal length and petal width. So the sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width. We can see with respect to one of the classes. I am doing it here with respect to 0 class, which is the setosa class. This was actually virginica and was also classified as virginica. And what negatively contributed for setosa? The high petal length negatively contributed. See, this is actually the log of odds. It is forcing the log of odds towards smaller value. Similarly, here it was versicolor, predicted as versicolor, and these features are contributing negative for setosa. And interestingly, here this was actually setosa, predicted as setosa, and what contributed positively for setosa was small petal length 1.4 and high sepal width, because sepal width needs to be high. So we can see that what is contributing positively when the observation is being classified to that class, and when it is classified to some other class, what is contributing negatively. These are forcing it in that direction. You can see the arrow, and here you can also see the arrow. It's forcing it towards positive direction. Here it's forcing it towards negative direction. And again, here setosa. Things that are contributing to positive direction are small petal length. With that, we come to the end of this video, where we fit a multinomial logistic regression to a multi-class classification problem. We did the EDA, and the EDA learnings were supported by the model results and also the explainable AI part, which we did using Shapley values. And we did both the global interpretation and local interpretation to understand the data as well as model performance better. What is contributing positively for a class and what is contributing negatively for a class, looking at the Shapley values and way it's contributing. And I will add the link of this notebook and also the link of all the prior videos in the description section. Hope you enjoyed the content. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button so you remain updated with all the latest content in the channel. See you in the next video. Bye.